in the on the phone
Welcome,
number,
folks.
it's in regular numbers,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to Hebrew numbers.
Got it. All right, folks. Welcome. Torah portion, Parshas, Korach. We're in the third reading. We are chapter 16, verse 20. Vidaber Hashem, and Hashem spoke El Moshe to Moshe Vel Aaron Lamar, and to Aaron, saying, we now come to a head with the rebellion of Korach and his company, challenging Moshe and his leadership and his appointment of Aaron, his brother, as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. Hibadlu, so Hashem says, Hibadlu. I mean, disconnect, disassociate, it says over here, separate. From the company, Azois, this company, this congregation, the Achala, and I will destroy Oisam them, Karaga, at this instant. They fell on their faces, and they said, Kel, God, Elokei Haruches, the God of spirits, the Chol Basar, meaning the spirit of all flesh. Ha'ish Echad Yechta. One man will sin, Valkol Ha'eda Tikseif, and you will be angry at the entire holy congregation. Ooh. Right? So they say to him, Kel Elokei Haruches, God, the God of spirits. Yedei HaMachshavas, God knows people's thoughts. Your attributes are not like that of a human being of flesh and blood. A king of flesh and blood. When part of the state revolts against him, and he doesn't know exactly who's the sinner. Therefore, when he gets angry, he takes revenge, or he takes payment or his due from all of them. But you, God, the Fanecha is called the Machshavas, before you it's revealed all of the thoughts of man. And you know exactly who the sinner is. Right. Hayish Echad, continues Rashi, the next Rashi. One man. Who's that one man? That's Korach, is that one man. He is the sinner. But you, I'll call Ha'eda Tiksa, if you're going to get angry, the entire assembly of the Jewish people. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yof Amartem. So Hashem responded, you have spoken properly. Ani Yedea, I know, and I will make known mi chata, who actually sinned, mi loy chata, who didn't sin. So remember already last week, what happened to the entire assembly? Were they supposed to die?
Yeah.
They're supposed to die immediately, but because of Moshe not, right? Because then it would be it would bring a lack of faith to the nations of the world, because they would think that you weren't able to bring them into the desert. But the truth is that the decree is upon them. So now the decree is upon them here, right?
Yeah.
But here we see the power of holy people's prayers, as Moshe prays, and that, it shouldn't be taken upon them at this point. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the congregation, say to them, remove yourself from around the Mishkan Korach, from the dwelling of Korach, and Dasan Vaviram. Rashi in 24. Olu. That should be this should be understood according to Onkeles. The Istalku, get yourselves away, Misvivas Mishkan Korach, from the vicinity of where they're dwelling, Korach. 25. Yaakov Moshe, and Moshe got up. V'yelech al dasan avaviram. Look at this, what's going on over here. And he went to dasan avaviram. V'yelech acharav bnei Israel. And the elders of Israel went and followed him. Rashi. Yaakov Moshe. He got up. He thought that they would show him respect, but they did not. Interesting. We have to want to understand this better because it just says that he got up and he went to them, is telling the people through their sins, because of their sin. Pesach alehem tapam, together with their children, their wives, their children, and infants. Rashi says, what does it mean? Yatsu nitzavim, it's an unusual term to use, nitzavim, to be standing erect. So Rashi explains in 27, became in skufa with an erect bearing, meaning defiantly. Others, they stood there, like defiantly in front of their tents, together with their wives, children, and meaning to insult and vilify. That's how Rashi, I guess, knows that earlier that he went up and says v'yakom, and he got up, but it doesn't say what he did with them, right? Here it says it, that they were vilifying.
40 days? What's that?
What, 40 days? It doesn't say 40 days. Does it say 40 days? As he stood erect for 40 days. It's just an example of the Goliath, which is said of Goliath. In other words, Goliath was vilifying the Jewish people for 40 days. That's what it means. It's just giving an example. No, it's literal in that story, but not in our story. Rashi, Unashayhem, and their wives, Uvanehem, and their children, Vatapam, and also their infants. Borei. Rashi comes in. Well, why does it tell us that? What do we need to know? Right? All the details here. Because Rashi brings out, Borei, come and see. How severe dispute is. Sharei based in Shalmata. For we see now the earthly court in Oinchim, they do not punish only someone who's guilty and brings 2 pubic hairs, meaning that they're mature enough that their sin that they committed, that they are responsible for their sin, right? If you're not of age, then you're not responsible for your sin. Babes and Shamaila, but here came the heavenly court, right? Oh, sorry. That's an earthly court, 13 and up for a boy, right? But a heavenly court, Ad Esrim Shana, does not punish until you become 20 years. In other words, when it says early premature death of Kores, so that only happens if you're 20 and up. Under that, you will not get premature death if you, for example, ate chametz on Pesach, for example, right? That's a premature death, right? But what happened over here? Even those who were suckling at the breast were also destroyed. They also died. Why? How come? Why'd they die? Anybody? Hello? Anybody home? How come? That's not what Rashi said. Rashi said, look how great dispute is. When you make a dispute, even those who are suckling, who are totally innocent from their mother, they also die. That's what happened here. That's why the verse says that they were standing there by their tents with their wives, with their children, and their little ones, to tell us that how bad it is to hold in a dispute with another Jew. Because what was this all about? It was a dispute between Jews. The other times that Jews sinned, was a dispute between Jews? They were challenging Moshe. They were lacking faith in God. But here it's a challenge to Moshe, to his leadership, a challenge to God. As a result, that's a dispute. And look how terrible the end is. And Moshe said, with this you will know ki Hashem shalachani, that God indeed sent me to do all of these deeds. Ki loy milibi, I didn't do it from my heart, meaning on my own. 28. To perform all of these actions, I've did this in accordance to God's speech, and according to God's dictate. Meaning that I gave Aaron the high priesthood, the Kohen Gadol, and to make his sons a deputy high priest, and Litzafan, that's how began the whole dispute that Korach had, because he felt he should have been made the prince of the Kahati family, and it was given to a younger brother of the brothers that to Elitzaphan, who is the descendant of a younger brother. 29.
Is there an explanation why they did that?
Why they did what?
Give the chieftainship to the son of the younger brother, youngest brother.
Yeah, he just said. God told him to do it.
Sorry?
God told him to do it.
Why? Any idea why?
Why God told him?
Yeah.
Because God wanted him.
They passed by older
Right, yeah. So
many older people.
No, well, Korach, he was from an older brother. Why? Because that's what God wanted. Why God wanted that, he didn't give his feelings over. But it's irrelevant, right? If God wants something, it's irrelevant why he wants it, right? That's irrelevant. I mean, it's only relevant if he says so. If he doesn't say so, it's irrelevant, right? And it's irrelevant to the leadership of Moshe. When Moshe says that Elitzaphan has to be the leader of Kahas, right? It's irrelevant why God said that to anybody else. Like, oh, really? Why did you say that? That itself is a rebellion. Not as Korach's rebellion, but that's not an acceptance. That in itself is not an acceptance of what God says. The im kamais kol adam, and Moshe is now continuing, right? Speaking to the Jewish people. And if, like all people, yamusun, Eila, they will die. In other words, they will die a regular death. V'fekudas kol adam yipaked aleihem, and the fate of all men will be visited upon them. Lo Hashem shalachani, God didn't send me then. Now, if they're going to die just a regular death, then God didn't send me. Lo Hashem shalachani. God didn't send me. He says, "Call me daiti." Rather, I did everything on my own opinion, my own decision. And therefore, he has the right to be opposing me, right? In Bria Yivra Hashem, but if Hashem will create a creation, and the earth will open up, Espia, its mouth, and will swallow them up. And all that is theirs, they will go down alive into the grave. Then you'll know that these men provoked God. No, splitting the earth is not something from nothing. There's an earth there that's being opened up, right?
Yep. Okay.
And if it'll be a new creation, meaning, an unusual kind of thing that's going on over here, right? Let me say something to put them to death. Through a dash that a regular person doesn't die. That's how people usually don't die that way, right? Adhena, up to this point, what is that creation? Adam is pia, that the earth opens up its mouth, and will swallow them up. Then Yedaitim, you shall know, kinatsu heim es Hashem, that they provoked God. And I have spoken everything, which is the word of God Himself. That's the simple meaning, brother. Say no, Darsh Payershu. Our sages explain the verse as follows. Imbria pe la'aretz, if the mouth of the earth is a creation, the sheish yimei bereshis, from the 6 days of creation, mutav v'imlab, then fine. And if not, Yivra Hashem, may Hashem create. Hashem will create instead of just Hashem will create. So it's broken up into 2 phrases. Yim Yivra, if there is a creation, may Hashem create. Uh-huh.
Was it a creation or not?
I heard. Okay, welcome, folks. How did that happen?
Again.
Welcome, everybody. We're welcoming you again. We're welcoming everybody once again.
So he created it now, that means something from nothing.
Huh?
It says, if it was created now, then that would be something from nothing. If it already existed, it's something from something, of course.
Yeah, I'm not clear exactly. I don't know. Okay, next Rashi in 30. Oh, okay. So no, we did it. I'm sorry, we finished it. Yeah. 31. We're holding together. And it was when he finished to speak. Who finished speaking? Who finished speaking? Moshe. All of these things that he just said, and it split the earth. That was underneath them. And the earth opened up its mouth, and swallowed them up, and their homes. And every individual that was with Korach, and all of their property. And they went down to the ground. All that was to them. Chaim she'ela, alive to the grave. V'tichasa aleihem, and it covered over them the earth. And they were lost amongst the congregation. Israel and all of the Jews, the Israelites that were around them, Nasu l'keilam, they ran l'keilam for their voices. They fled with crying out. Ki amra, they said, "Pentiv la'im perhaps the earth is going to swallow us up too." Rashi nasu l'keilam bishvil l'keil shayitzi al bliyasam, because of the sound that emitted when they were swallowed up. Right. As they ran, because the ones who were swallowed up by the earth, they were crying out, right? So because of that, that's what, I guess moved them to run. The Eish Yatzameis Hashem. Now, further thing that happened, a fire came out from before Hashem. V'teichal es kol ha'chamishim masayim ish akri v'akteres. So that was Korach, Dasan Aviram, and their families. And their families. But the 250, they got a different kind of death. A fire came out, and it consumed the 250 men who offered the incense. Right? Others, they didn't get swallowed up, but they were. But the incense fire destroyed them. Okay. We're good? Hashem. Oh, sorry. We just did it. Okay. We're in chapter 17, verse number 1. Everybody, we're good? Yeah. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, Emor el Elazar, say to Elazar ben Aaron, who's the son of Aaron HaKohen, the Yorim is a machtes, and he should pick up the machtes, which is those pans that were used, right? Ben Asrefa, from the burnt area. Es ha'esh zare hala hikadeshu. Right? So, and throw the fire away because they have been sanctified. Because they brought as an offering, so there was some sanctification here. Let's see Rashi in verse number 2. The es ha'esh, and the fire, it was inside the fire pans, right? Not the fire of the blaze, right? Because the blaze was the fire that consumed those offering the incense, right? The people, right? Zerah, they should move away la'aretz to the ground, me'ala machtes, from the top of the fire pan, and throw it to the ground, right? Because they became holy. And throw it to the ground. There's some holiness to them, I guess, because they're an offering. Because they become holy. Hamachtis, the fire pans have become holy. And they're forbidden for any personal benefit. No, they weren't gold, and I don't think they were silver either. I don't think it said. Sharei asum claim sharis. They were now used as an implement for the temple service. These fire pans were dedicated for the tabernacle.
Number what? 3.
Well, no, we're starting 3 now. So these fire pans were already sanctified as implements for the altar service. Now they had a greater sanctity for the altar itself. Let's see further. Okay, verse number 3. These fire pans of those who sinned, in their souls, meaning that they gave up their lives, they cost their lives, right? So now you should make them and flatten them out as plates that will overlay, that will cover the altar. Because they were brought as an offering before God, and therefore they were sanctified. And they should be now as a reminder, as a sign for the Jewish people. Rashi. And those sinners against their souls, meaning that they transgress against their souls, because they argued against God. They expressed it against Moshe, but arguing against Moshe is arguing against God. It's like arguing against the Rebbe is arguing against God. Reku'e, redudim, thinned them out. Pachim means tasim merudodim, thinned out sheets. In Old French, tenveh. Is that good for Old French? Tenveh. Tzipui lemizbech. There should be a covering for the altar lemizbech on for the copper altar. It stands to reason, yes, that they were copper. Exactly. Right? So they're supposed to cover the copper altar, viulais, and they shall be as a sign, lezikaron, as a commemoration, as a remembrance. Shiyomer, the people should say, Elu hayu, that these fire pans were those who disputed the priesthood, and they were burnt alive. When they brought their offering, they were burnt alive.
They got what?
They got burnt alive. Right? They died from that fire. But their offering became holy. Not exactly clear why. I mean, God says it is, so it is, right? Right?
The offering became holy, but they
They died. So, it's an interesting idea. They're sinners. They're bringing an offering, and the offering becomes holy.
Separate thing.
Right, but
Can you translate that to money
meaning
or transfer that to money?
transfer what?
Person robs somebody,
Yeah.
has ill-gotten money, and then brings it as an offering to a holy person, for example.
Blood money.
Does that make the money is holy, but the person is guilty?
Blood money.
Maybe it's just a reminder of what happened, incident.
I know, but
That's why they.
yeah, but it's a reminder, but it had to be, it was holy. Oh no. Okay, you know why? I'm sorry. We said Roman, no, what 1 second. Rashi already said, and I didn't, it didn't register till now. I learned I'm not also paying attention. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one that's not. I'm also not paying attention.
Don't admit it.
I just admitted it because I just realized, because I know actually was a commentary here, it wasn't Rashi. These were fire pans that were already implements of the Mishkan. So they already had holiness. They were being used now, not in a holy way, but they still had holiness. Actually, what happened now, they got an upgrade. Not only are they fire pans for the altar, they're fire pans of the altar because now they were put on the altar. Why? As a remembrance. So they got an upgrade. Interesting. Why? So we should remember. So my question was like, what made them holy? Because they were implements that were part of the tabernacle of the Mishkan. They were already holy. They just got an upgrade. That's all. Yeah. Okay. Number 4. Yikach Elazar HaKayin, and he took Elazar the Kayin. It's a machtes. He took those pans and the choishes that are made from copper. Right? You asked the question, got the answer. Asher hikrivu, huh? Rashi said it. The verse didn't say it, right? Rashi said it.
No.
No. Actually, Rashi didn't even say it, by the way. No, he did. He did. No. It just said for the copper altar. It didn't say that these were copper. Now it's saying it for the first time. Rashi didn't even say it before, right? So he took it Elazar the Kayin, these fire pans that are made out of copper, Asher hikrivu aserufim, that they were brought by those who were burnt up. And he hammered them out to overlay the altar. In Old French, estendre, to extend, to spread. Yeah, it's a good attendre. Okay, verse number 5. Zikaron, a reminder, Libnei Israel, for the children of Israel, Laman, in order, Asher lo yikrav ish azar, in order that they should not be a foreign person, meaning an outsider who is not a kohen, right? Asher loy mizer Aaron, that is not from the seed of Aaron, and therefore not a kohen, right? Who? Lahaktir keteris, to bring keteris. What's keteris? Incense. Lifnei Hashem, before God. In order not to be like Korach and his company and his people. As Hashem spoke to Moshe through him to the people. Right?
That's what Levi's report. Sure.
Well, let's stick with the verse over here.
Okay.
Okay. Lo yik Korach. You shouldn't be like Korach. What does that mean? As Hashem spoke through Moshe, loy, usually to him or to him is used kamay olav, meaning about him. Al Aaron diber el Moshe, as we see, as he spoke to Moshe about Aaron. Sheahu ubanav kahanim, that him, that Aaron and his son should be kahanim. Therefore, lo yikrav yizar asher lo yimizar Aaron, foreign or alien person who's not a kohen, who is not offering, not of the offspring of Aaron, shall not draw near. So likewise, the form of El Lamed as a prefix of li to me, or loy to him, or lehem to them, asmuchim eitzel dibur is juxtaposed to the word daber, to speak. Pisrenim kamay al means about, right? So in other words, it means about here. Asher kasher diber Hashem biyad Moshe loy, about him, about meaning are. It's a suffix, prefix, sorry. Midrashay al-Kaira, the verse in Midrashic interpretation about him does not mean about the Kohanim, but means about Korach. Omal biyad Moshe. What does it mean then? Literally by the hand of Moshe, but like Kosov, and it does say El Moshe, to Moshe. Remiz is to Tintash King Malkuna, that those who dispute the priesthood over the priesthood as Kairach did, Shaloikim Bitzaras, that they're stricken with tzaras, with a skin disease, as Moshe was stricken with on his hand, right? Shenemar, as it says, when God first revealed him at the burning bush, right? So his hand was stricken with a skin disease of tzaras. And he withdrew his hand, and behold, it was stricken with tzaras like snow. And for this same reason, Uzziah was stricken with tzaras. Wow.
They were burnt, swallowed, and for us.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, a few more verses, no Rashi's left. Verse number 6, Lainu kol adas b'nei Israel. You know what Lainu means? They complained. Kol adas b'nei Israel, the entire congregation of the children of Israel, Machras, the following day, Al Moshe ba'al against Moshe and Aaron, are saying, Atem emitem is Am Hashem. You have killed the people of God. And it came to pass when the congregation was assembled against Moshe and Aaron, and they turned to the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud was covering the tent, the cloud of glory, the glory of Hashem. And Moshe and Aaron came to the front of the oil mayed. Well, no, we'll have to wait for tomorrow. Sorry. Tomorrow they'll get, whatever.
Glory of God appeared.
Huh?
If the glory of God appeared before them, it must have affected them in some way. We'll see tomorrow.
Let's take a brief moment to see if we have something from the Rebbe. Let's say, wait, you want to hear something from the Rebbe?
No water, house and milk.
That's my mother's fight.
There is water. How about the soya? Good stuff. Good time. This is all very exciting. 14,000.
Okay. All right. Some lengthy stuff here that I have to look over. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll get a little more. All
Thank
right,
you.
we'll see.